Liberia, 1847, Freedom Without Freedom. This is Freedom Files, the untold story of how nations broke their chains. A nation born from an idea, Liberia, did not begin like other nations. It was not first a colony of conquest, nor a land seized by soldiers and cannons. Instead, Liberia was born from an idea shaped by fear, contradiction, and unfinished justice. In the early 1800s, the United States struggled with a question it could not answer. What should be done with free black people in a slave-owning society? The solution some powerful Americans proposed was not equality, but removal. The American-Colonization Society. In 1816, a group of politicians, slaveholders, and religious leaders formed the American-Colonization Society, ACS. Their plan was simple and troubling: free black people in America, send them to Africa, and create a colony far from US soil. Some supported it, believing it would civilize Africa. Others feared free black communities within America. A few hoped it would weaken the anti-slavery movement. The voices of black Americans were divided. Some rejected the plan entirely. Others saw Africa as a chance to live free of white oppression. And so the experiment began. Return to Africa, 1822. In 1822, the first group of freed and formerly enslaved black Americans arrived on the West African coast. The land would become Liberia. They faced immediate hardship: unfamiliar climate, disease, resistance from local communities, poor planning, and lack of resources. Many settlers died within months, but the settlement survived. It was named Liberia, from the Latin word liber, meaning free. Its capital was called Monrovia, named after US President James Monroe. Freedom had arrived, but it came wearing American clothes. A new elite, old patterns. As years passed, the settlers, known as Americo-Liberians, built a society modeled after the United States. They spoke English, wore Western clothing, practiced Christianity, and built churches, schools, and plantations. But something tragic happened. The settlers, once oppressed themselves, became the ruling elite. Indigenous African communities, who had lived on the land for centuries, were excluded from power, education, and citizenship. Liberia had escaped European colonization, but inequality took root from within. Freedom existed, but not for everyone. Independence declared, 1847. In 1847, the Americo-Liberian leadership made a decisive move. They declared Liberia an independent republic. Why? To govern themselves, to protect their interests, and to avoid being taken over by European powers. Liberia became Africa's first independent republic and a black-led nation in a world still dominated by empires. Its constitution mirrored that of the United States, but indigenous Liberians were excluded from citizenship for decades. The flag looked familiar, the system felt familiar, but the promise of freedom was incomplete. A nation protected yet isolated. Despite its contradictions, Liberia held a unique position. While nearly all of Africa was colonized during the late 1800s, Liberia remained independent, not because of military strength, but because of its close ties to the United States. Liberia stood as a symbol of black self-rule, of survival in an age of empire, of a nation spared from European conquest. Yet internally, the wounds of inequality would deepen. The cost of unfinished freedom. For over a century, Liberia was ruled almost exclusively by a small Americo-Liberian minority. Tensions grew, voices were silenced, resentment built. Eventually, these unresolved injustices erupted into instability and conflict in the late 20th century. Liberia's story reminds us of a painful truth. Breaking colonial chains does not automatically create justice. Moral of the story: freedom that excludes others creates new forms of bondage. Liberia teaches us, true independence is not only freedom from foreign rule, but freedom shared equally among all people.